Welcome back to Who Is on Magic Untapped as we explore the origins and backstories of a variety of Magic the Gathering characters from across the multiverse. I am Barry White. As a new Phyrexian threat looms, we're looking back at when Phyrexia had its sights set on the plane of Dominaria. Specifically, we're going to talk about the 9 Titans, a group of planeswalkers who banded together to confront the threat.
Who is this?
Who is it?
Who is this?
Who is it?
The 9 Titans are a group of planeswalkers from across the multiverse who were brought together to defend the plane of Dominaria from an invasion from Phyrexia and its godlike leader, the Father of Machines and Lord of the Wastes, Yawgmoth. As Phyrexia's advances in Dominaria expanded and intensified, the Artificer planeswalker, Urza, created huge mech-like armors designed specifically for infiltrating Phyrexia itself. They were outfitted with an arsenal of weapons for fighting Phyrexians, as well as a special system designed to detect glistening oil, the highly potent and corruptive substance that is used to turn, or complete, non-Phyrexian lifeforms into Phyrexians. These armors, however, needed pilots, and not just any pilots. They needed planeswalkers at the helm, as they were designed to amplify and emulate each planeswalker pilot's characteristics. To fill this requirement, Urza began quickly recruiting allies to aid him in his assault on the nightmarish mechanical plane. Initially, he recruited his old student from the Talarian Academy, Teferi Okosa, and the rather erratic Parcher, as well as other planeswalkers from Dominaria and beyond: Bolivar, Freyalise, Commodore Guff, Tevesh Zat, Lord Windgrace, and Tyser of Rabaya. Teferi, however, reneged on his agreement to assist and, instead, chose to use his time magic to phase out of the time stream both himself and Zalfir, his homeland on the Dominarian continent of Jamura. Teferi's departure, however, left a spot open for Taser's apprentice and adopted daughter, Daria, a planeswalker from Ogrotha, to join. As Daria's inclusion was at the heavy insistence of Taser, Freyalise made her own demand, for Urza to include her friend, and former love interest of Taser, Christina of the Woods, in part as a jab at Taser's pride. Luckily for Freyalise, Parcher's erratic behavior had proved to be a bit too much for Urza and the rest to handle. He was dismissed so that Christina could instead take his place amongst the 9 Titans. Lavar assaulted and successfully captured the caves of Kolios back from the Phyrexians, more or less ending the first wave of the Phyrexian invasion of Dominaria, and allowing the 9 to use the centuries-old portal there for direct access to the plane of Phyrexia itself. Upon entering Phyrexia in their powerful Titan suits, the 9 began wreaking havoc on the Dark Plane. Early on into their incursion, however, Tevesh Zat, a black-aligned planeswalker who was recruited due to his extensive knowledge of the layout of Phyrexia, began to turn on his squadmates. During one of the many confrontations the Titans had with the Phyrexian natives, the Serpentine Sat accidentally killed Christina. A little later, he went on the hunt and Daria, too, was felled at his hand, bringing the 9 down to 7. Urza, however, was concerned that one of the 9 might betray the group. As such, and unbeknownst to the other 8, the Artificer Planeswalker installed a failsafe in each of the Titan suits. Urza used the failsafe to drain Zat's life energy, slaying the Serpentine Planeswalker, and using his life force as fuel for the Titan's superweapon, Soul Bombs, intended for the complete and utter destruction of the Phyrexian plane. Unfortunately for the remaining Titans, as well as for Dominaria itself, the longer Urza remained on Phyrexia, the more and more fascinated he became with the plane, his Artificer instincts overtaking his want to defend Dominaria from the Phyrexian threat. Urza ultimately feels he cannot destroy a plane made of artifice regardless of the repercussions. He decides to dismantle the Master Soul Bomb, which would have detonated the others in a coordinated strike. Taser, already grieving the loss of not just his former lover, Christina of the Woods, but also of his adopted daughter, Daria, began thinking mutinous thoughts. When Urza jumped from the plane and began to succumb to Yawgmoth's call, Taser tried to take charge of the mission and attacked him. In response, Urza activated the kill switch on the Rabayan Planeswalker's Titan suit, killing him instantly. The 9, now down to 4, decided to follow Taser's example, in part anyway, and continued the mission without Urza, with Beau LeVar taking charge of it, despite it beginning to resemble a fool's errand. At LeVar's direction, he and the remaining Titans, Freyalise, Guff, and Windgrace, began planting the remaining soul bombs at critical points throughout the plane, manually activating them one after another before, just in the nick of time, planeswalking back to Dominaria as the remaining 4 bombs still packed enough power to decimate the plane, all but destroying it and wiping it from the multiverse. Back on Dominaria, Commodore Guff, a planeswalker who, essentially, is a librarian and editor of all books ever written, including those yet to be written that hold the destiny of the multiverse, reveals to the other 3 that Yawgmoth had already departed from the doomed plane, with plans to make Dominaria his new home. Not only that, he tells them that the Lord of the Wastes is destined to succeed. After all, Guff is the one who wrote down Yawgmoth's victory in one of his future-looking books of destiny. LeVar, however, is having none of it. He strong-arms Guff into making one final edit into his future-looking annals. Guff erases a few of the important parts in regards to how Phyrexia's invasion of Dominaria turns out, leaving its ending open and unresolved. The Titans then go their separate ways, just as Yawgmoth emerges on Dominaria in the form of a giant death cloud. Guff gets caught up in Yawgmoth's wake and perishes on the spot. LeVar quickly travels to Vodalia and uses his essence to create a protective shield around one of their merfolk colonies, sacrificing himself to save them as Yawgmoth's death cloud encroached upon their area. Freyalise returns to her forest to spend what she supposed were her last moments among nature and the elves who revered her as a goddess. And Lord Windgrace returns to his native island of Urborg to make what he expects to be one final stand against Yawgmoth and the invading Phyrexians in defense of Dominaria. As for what happened to Urza after he betrayed the remaining Titans and turned his allegiances towards Yawgmoth, you can learn more about that by checking out our Magic History videos about the sets Plane Shift and Apocalypse. You can find them listed in our Retrospectives playlist right here on YouTube. If you'd like to support Magic Untapped, please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Also, we have a tip jar on Patreon if you'd like to toss a buck our way. Thank you very much.